Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rory Bremner.
Thank you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. A little bit nervous tonight. As you know, I work for Channel 4 now, so I'm not used to such a large audience. Feel a little bit like President Clinton tonight, you know, standing up in front of a group of strangers, my arse on the line, trying to remember all the new material. It's great being back in Edinburgh, though. It's wonderful. On the M8, I've been going backwards and forwards on the M8 a lot this week, and the signs are very bossy on the M8. Just check your brakes, check your fuel, check your tyre, check your tie. Have you brushed your teeth? Gets friendlier as you get towards Edinburgh. It says, welcome to Edinburgh. The next motorway sign says, you'll have had your tea. But I didn't come to Edinburgh for the last 10 years, so I felt that, you know, the Fringe is about discovering new acts and new talents, and then when you're a little bit more known as a television comedian, maybe you come back and do the festival, and then when you're sort of established as a TV comedian, you come back into the Scottish Parliament, obviously. Which they think they're going to get the Scottish Parliament all sorted out by the year 2000, which is fine, because it's going to take that long for Donald Dewar to complete a sentence. I think that the devolution between you and me, there are parts of the Scottish Labour Party that are still coming to terms with the evolution. I'd love to see Donald Dewar legging it down Princess Street in a scene from Trainspotting, go, choose life, choose a job, choose a career, choose a future, choose a regional assembly with limited tax-raising powers. You don't have to come up to Scotland to see all the Scottish politicians. They're all down in England. It's wonderful. Practically half the Labour cabinet. It's one of these people like George Robertson. He's one of
well, hello. They say, what's it like to sit on the Defence Committee? I said, I'm a Scottish Labour. I've sat in Defence for years. I'd like to talk about what we're procuring for the Defence for the next 2 years. 2 Trident missiles, 38 Eurofighters, 110 Challenger tanks, and a meat pie.
A lot's happened since the election, of course. This time, 18 months ago, we were talking about a government that was on its last legs. All the talk was about sleaze, and cozying up with big business, and cutting benefits, and MPs having affairs with their secretaries, and position on a single currency unclear. Whereas now, it was extraordinary, wasn't it? May the 1st, I remember waking up on the day after the election, and Tony Blair got in his landslide victory with less votes than John Major got in the last one. And I'm thinking, what on earth do I do now? What am I going to do? But that's fine, because that's exactly what Tony Blair was thinking. So, look, come on, I mean, I have a dream. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask for a cappuccino. But I think we should all gather tonight in prayer and repeat those words. Our party, which art in government, New Labour be our name. Our kingdom's come, my will be done, in power as it was at conference. Praise us this day, O Daily Mail, as we give out our press passes and forgive those who use their press pass against us. Lead us not into complacency, but deliver us a second term. For ours is the kingdom. In power, we're Tory. Forever and ever. Amen. And of course, our women, let's not forget. Yeah, thank you. But when the people of this country very sweetly asked me to be Prime Minister, it's not about the title and the trimmings, and the car. It's nice though, isn't it? But, it's about the letters. The letters you get from, young people all over the country. writing in and saying, "Dear Tony," spelt wrong, thank you. Thank you for what New Labour has done for me as a young person. I was feckless and irresponsible, but now I've got a proper job, in real respect. Yours sincerely, William Hague. Now, but people say that I just jump on the latest bandwagon of popular opinion, but I think, frankly, that's rather hurtful. All I ask is to be, in some way, the Prime Minister of people's hearts. And I've made a deal with the people of Britain, it was a covenant, if you like, a sacred covenant, that they could go on getting richer, and I'd ensure they didn't feel bad about it. And I said, well, look, here's a guarantee. I'll make a guarantee with you. It's like a business. I said, we'd have a free vote on fox hunting. And he said, well, we're not sure. So we took it back and we changed it. We said we'd scrap Peps and Tessas. You said, well, hang on, we don't like that. So we took it back and changed it. We said we'd scrap tobacco advertising. Bernie Eccleston said, well, hang on a minute here, Tony, mate. Not sure. So, we took that back and we scrapped it. We changed it. In fact, in his case, we even gave his money back. So, but I think, people ask me about my political philosophy. And I think it was Nye Bevan who said, reach out and touch someone you love. Make this world a better place. If you can. And, how true those words are. I do sometimes find myself missing John Major because you're not like a set of curtains you're used to, used to having him around. You think that poor old John Major, he must be wandering around Huntingdon now, thinking there must be more to life than standing around saying,
I think you want a bit more cement with that, Brian. Oh, yes. Only the other day I was at my local aquatic garden centre. I just bought my favourite water lily, a nymphea, aviator pring, I think it was called, and it was dripping gently down my leg. And I turned on impulse to the woman behind me in the queue and I said, knock, knock. Who's there? She said. John, I vouchsafed. John who? She said. Have you forgotten already? How we laughed. But I keep up. Oh yes, I keep up with modern events. I noticed that the Spice Girls have sacked the man responsible for their unparalleled economic success. Funny old world, isn't it? But I'm not complaining.
He's had to put up all this press stuff recently about Emma Noble marrying his son. And he's very diplomatic, isn't he? He says, oh, Emma. Oh, yes. No, she's a charming girl. Holds her knife and fork properly, everything. Oh, yes, charming girl. Goes like a fucking train, mind you, but...
Have you heard about New Labour Ultra? Well, actually, a friend told me about them. And I thought, why not give them a try?
Well, the election promises were so thin. I found I could just slip them in the manifesto and forget all about them.
It's true. Thanks to this revolutionary top-spin layer, New Labour Ultra totally absorbs old election pledges so completely, you won't even know they're there. Well, it leaves me free to get on with the things I want to do. New Labour Ultra. Election promises so thin, you'll soon forget they were ever there.
Well, I'm convinced.
It's hard coming to terms with all the new political realities in Britain, all the new faces we've got to get used to. Claire Short the other day was doing a landmine campaign. I assume it was anti-landmines. I don't think it was pro-landmine campaign. She was being photographed and wearing all the gear, and she was criticised in the paper for adopting a pose resembling Princess Diana. So I got out a picture of Claire Short. I got out a picture of Diana, and you can't bloody tell them apart. I tell you, stars in their eyes. Really. But it's quite extraordinary. John Prescott, isn't it wonderful? We've now got a Deputy Prime Minister that looks like a National Express coach driver. Oh, no, whenever he does. I'm the Deputy Prime Minister from Hull, sorry, but okay. Sorry, 2 gin and tonics, I'll be back in a minute. Every time I see him, I think it's not John Prescott, it's Les Dawson.
Anyway, I was talking to that Claire Short the other day. Claire Short never goes abroad. They don't allow that much meat out the country without a permit. I went to see the doctor the other day and I said, "Doctor, I've got a steering wheel stuck on the end of my knob and it's driving me nuts."
Who else have we got? We got Robin Cook. Oh my God. I think Julie Birchall said, these women that sleep with Robin Cook, what do they do for fun? He starts doing these radio interviews. He's got this little condescending sigh in his voice now. He's, "You're listening to Today on Radio 4. I'm joined now by the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Robin Cook. Mr. Cook, what hope now for the Middle East peace process?" John, I very much doubt you'll understand this, but it's like having Jean Brodie as your Foreign Secretary, isn't it? As far as I can say, Saddam Hussein is now inviting us to believe that he has gained a certain amount of respect in the international community. I have to say, it is rather extraordinary. And this stuff, he was asked about his private life and, his relationship with Gaynor. He said, John, I say, clearly the last few weeks have not been easy either for myself or for Gaynor. But I hope very much to look forward to spending the rest of my life with the woman I love. Who does he think he is? Edward the bloody Eighth? It's extraordinary. This is the reenactment of Edward and Mrs. Simpson with Gaynor playing the part of Wallace and Robin Cook playing the part of Gromit. He's always sort of very chirpy and full of himself and sort of sticking out his chest. I see him as sort of little chicken, stuck in the House of Commons. You know the sort of thing I mean.
Tweedly, tweedly, dee. Tweedly, tweedly, dee. Tweet, 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 tweet.
I stand at the dispatch box all day long, a-hopping and a-bopping and a-singing my song. I speak my mind, I don't sit on the fence. I'm the only intellectual on the Labour front bench. Cocky Robin.
Tweet, tweet, tweedly, dee.
Cocky Robin.
Tweet, tweet.
I have to say me. My name's Cocky Robin and I'm going to rock the house tonight. I'm the Dr. Finlay for the party's ills, with my famous grasp of detail and forensic skills. Terrifying Tories, that's my task. It's easy with the faces like a Halloween mask. Cocky Robin. Cocky Robin. Me. I have to say me. My name's Cocky Robin and I'm going to rock the house tonight. A lot of Labour members want to clip my wings because I'm much too talented at lots of things. If I looked a bit more ordinary and had nice hair, I'd be way ahead of Gordon Brown and Thingy Blair. Debating in the chamber, I'm a bugger to stop. When I get excited, both my eyes go pop. I'm a Scottish terrier, tenacious and tough. Don't try to stop me or I might go roof. Rocky Robin. Cocky Robin. I have to say me. My name's Cocky Robin and I'm going to rock the house tonight. Thank you, conference.
But it'll be interesting to see how things pan out. We've got a new health secretary who he's quite telegenic, but every time I see Frank Dobson, I keep thinking it's Uncle Albert out of Only Fools and Horses.
Order! Mr. Secretary Dobson. Madam Speaker, turned out nice again, hasn't it? Well, Madam Speaker, happen or not you might be interested, but I just thought I'd like to spell out to the Chamber some of our policies on the health service. Now, believe it or not, this government was not elected to save the NHS. Oh, no. This government was elected to check women's breasts at regular intervals. And, oh, sorry, no, that's wrong. I've got between you and me, the National Health Service is in a right old mess. Oh, yes, I'm Health Secretary. I know about these sorts of things. Shortage of money, low morale, and between you and me, it's actually starting to get me down a little bit, you know, because you know me, I'm a sort of happy-go-lucky sort of a chap, spring in my step, quite light, but now look at me now, the beard, it's all grey and fumbly. I don't like to say very much, my doctor, nice chap, foreign, obviously, well, he's not got the time, has he? But anyway, I feel a lot better now that I've got it all out in the open and I've shared it with you, and I think that's made it all a lot better. Now, any questions, anybody, quickly, because the coach is about to leave.
There are some of the old Conservatives still left around. Alan Clark, for example. It's extraordinary. Alan Clark was elected to stand in Kensington and Chelsea. He was elected to stand in place of Nicholas Scott, who apparently couldn't. Remember that? But it's amazing. Having Alan Clark, it's like having Leslie Phillips as your local MP. Lady Mayor, this is your Conservative Member of Parliament.
Well, hello. I say ding dong.
When William Hague started out, he had this idea of having a bonding session for all the MPs, and they all turned up, even Alan Clark, because he misread the facts. He thought it was an invitation to a bonking session.
7:30 for 8. I don't think I can manage that many.
He's been quite quiet, as far as I can make out. The only thing he's done in the last year was to get on his high horse about Humphrey, the Downing Street cat, you know, when it went missing. And everyone was wondering what the Blairs had done to Humphrey, the Downing Street cat. And leading the struggle was Alan Clark.
Well, if there's any stray pussy in Westminster, I want to know all about it.
You guys in Edinburgh, you've lost Malcolm Rifkind. Shame. He was MP here for a long time, wasn't he? Edinburgh Pentlands. I've got a constituency full of potatoes. It was extraordinary, though, because he was the most pompous member of Parliament. Madam Speaker, if I can put this in a way that doesn't sound too pompous. No, I'm afraid I can't put this in a way that doesn't sound too pompous. Luckily, there are one or two pompous MPs left in the House of Commons, of which Paddy Ashdown is, well, all of them, really.
Good evening. But I think it's rather more important than that. I want to send out a message this evening that goes beyond this hall, beyond this room, all the way over the road, left at the traffic lights, over the zebra crossing, and as far as Quicksave. And that message is this. People say to me, Paddy, can you see the Liberal Democrats playing a role in government in the next 5 years? And I say to those people, my eyes are now so tightly shut that I can see bugger all. But we in the Liberal Democrats, we're not a party of the left, we're not a party of the right, we're a party of neither and of both, betwixt and between. But I want to say to you today that last year I embarked on probably, no, let's not beat about the bush, definitely the most significant journey ever undertaken by any politician in peacetime in this country. Why did I embark on such a journey? Well, it was because I'd become fed up with the system of government in this country, which ensures that the only people that politicians get to meet are the intelligent people, the well-informed people, the the famous people. I wondered, where were the little people? The ordinary people? And I make no apology for using this word, where were the stupid people? And so I sought them out, sometimes in the middle of the night, banging on doors from Perth to Penzance, saying, "Hi, I'm Paddy. Give me a simple meal and a bed for the night, and let's talk." And we did. We talked about their problems. Where are we going to get hold of some salmon, fish cakes, and a rocket salad at this time of night? Will Grandad be okay in with the rabbits while you use his bed? And on and on. The list is endless and indeed pointless. But the point is this: we were talking. Them and me and them. It was talking, it was dialogue. It's what I do best. It's what I'm doing now. Only last week I was talking to a tramp, and I put the nation on notice that he was a tramp in King's Cross. And I said to him, "Hi, I'm Paddy. Let's talk." And he looked at me and he said, "Look at my cock." And he fished it out from the layers of tweed and flannel and yellowed newspaper. And he said, "What are you going to do about that?" It was, I'm bound to say, a perfectly reasonable question. And so I said to him, let me answer your question with a question. I said, "Are you prepared to spend an extra 5p on a packet of fags to ensure that your penis receives the medical attention that it so obviously and desperately needs?" And he looked at me and he said, "Why don't you just bugger off and stop wasting my time?" But you see, that's the point. When he said bugger off and stop wasting my time, he didn't just mean me. Well, he might have done, but I think he meant all of us. He meant all of us. He was saying, "Look, I'm not going to vote for you." And to that I say, I, Paddy Ashdown, says, and I make no apology for saying it, I say, if after all this dialogue, if after all this journey, this examination of suppurating penises, if after all this you're not prepared to vote for me, then sod you. And quite frankly, and I make no apology for saying this, I hope it bloody well drops off. Thank you.
So, yes, there they are. They had another election, just Conservatives, to make sure that one of them won. And yes, there it is. There are the candidates. Ken Clarke, safe pair of hands. Peter Lilly, clean pair of hands. Michael Howard, who could have sworn those hands were there last time he looked. And what do we get? William Hague, the youngest cabinet minister this century, although there was one who was younger, but that was George Younger, and he was much older. Hey! I was going to do William Hague, but it's a bit past his bedtime now, isn't it? No. He did a great party political broadcast the other day. I would like to see a Conservative party that reaches out to the people of this country. I want to see a Conservative party that has learned the lessons of the past and can apply them to the future. I want to see a Conservative party that can reassure the people of Britain that its needs are at its heart. That is why I voted Labour at the last election. And now we see the folly of Labour's position on Europe. It won't work. We know it won't work because it's exactly the same policy that we had when we were in power. The one thing I've noticed, you've all been saying everywhere I go, you've all come up and said, William, get a life. And I have. I've got myself a very pretty wife. Fionn, people come to me and they say, William, the trouble with you is there's 2 F's in Fionn and there's no F in leadership. And I say, are there 2 F's in Fionn? I usually fall asleep after the first one. But I say to the people of this country, I say, do not let despair defeat us. Do not let Socialism defeat us. Do not let Tony Blair defeat us. But I'm a little bit worried because I've now used the word fetus 3 times in one sentence. We've got a new MP, a man in a white suit and a military tie, who still can't forget his previous profession.
Order. Mr. Martin Bell.
Madam Speaker, as I rise to address this House, the scene around me is one of dismay and bewilderment. Earlier today, a sniper from over there on the opposition backbenches took aim and fired a single shot, fired at random, the aim to spread fear and confusion rather than to kill outright. And so it seems, despite the talk of a new moral order here, the sense remains of something rotten. A black market in favours, bribery, corruption, and even death camps. Sorry, force of habit, but an easy mistake to make. An easy mistake to make, Madam Speaker, when you've still got half a pound of shrapnel lodged up your Gary Glitter. This is Martin Bell for the BBC News at Westminster.
Lots of talk of the new women in Parliament. New women in Parliament? I haven't heard much of the new women in Parliament at all. What about Harry and Harman? For goodness sake, the government going for Harman replacement therapy. The only lady I've seen in the House of Commons so far is Betty Boothroyd, who sounds like a bloody Blackpool landlady.
Order! Breakfast finishes at 9:30. Keep the noise down up there. Who's been smoking? Really?
We're having to get used to new parliamentary tactics that Blair and the others are doing. In the old days, they'd come to the Commons and they'd make a statement, but these days it's all rather different. And the old guard, like Tony Benn, goes, well, I don't know what's happening. You look at Tony Benn and thought, oh, New Labour, new this, oh, it was like, blimey. I thought to myself, it's Oswald Mosley. Well, I suppose in Islington, Oswald Muesli, but... Blimey, these days you don't get things announced in the House of Commons. I was at the hairdresser's only the other day and I was flicking through Hello magazine and there it was, between an interview with Baby Spice and the recipe for chocolate fudge cake, a Transport Commons Select Committee report on integrated transport systems. I thought, well, blimey.
Order. Mr. Gordon Brown.
Madam Speaker. Firstly, in answer to your question, may I remind you of my engagements for today. This morning, I chaired a meeting of European finance ministers, took part in discussions for the public spending round, drafted the Green Paper on interdepartmental cooperation, started work on tax policy for the next millennium, and fixed the leak in the downstairs bathroom. Madam Speaker, I said some 2 weeks ago that I would announce the government's policy on a single currency to this House at the earliest opportunity. However, Tony has now asked me to do it today instead. We shall, in short, be continuing with the fundamental strategy underpinning our successful economic policy, which is to use the words prudent and sustainable as often as is prudently sustainable. We do not... Oh yes! Madam Speaker, we do not wish to repeat the mistakes made by the previous administration, which have left this country with by far the strongest economy in the civilised world, and Belgium. It is therefore my intention to set out our position on Europe and on a single currency, and that, Madam Speaker, I will now unambiguously do. We don't know. In summing up, Madam Speaker, we will go in the first wave, Binky will go in with the second and go on to the Mona Dam. Ginger... Sorry, that's the wrong briefing document. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I believe this is a statement that will benefit old people and young people alike. It will benefit businessmen, taxpayers, companies, the environment, the jobless, the homeless, my mother,
the Dumbarton Gill Pipers, and finally, Madam Speaker, wee Jeannie McCall. Oh, and me. Thank you.
Good evening. There, I said I wouldn't lie to you. This afternoon in this Oval Office, on that very chair, albeit somewhat wetter, I gave evidence to the independent counsel and the grand jury. I answered questions about my private life, questions that no U.S. citizen should ever have to answer, especially one with this much to hide. In January, I was asked about my relationship with Monica Lewinsky. The answers I gave were legally accurate, but I did not volunteer information. I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky, but she did not inhale. I said to the grand jury this afternoon, and I say to you now, at no time did I ever ask anyone to lie. To kneel, sure, but never to lie. It was never my intention to demean my office. We always did it in the room next door. What concerns me now is that something that started off so small Hey, don't get too far ahead of me now. Something that started off so small has now been blown out of all proportion. To come before you now and to accept full responsibility for my actions is the least that I can do. I checked. I want you to know that I am prepared to sacrifice whoever it takes to resolve this matter. Nothing is more important than me personally. In future, I intend to reclaim my family life for my family. It's nobody's business but ours. Even presidents have private lives. And that is why I've chosen to discuss mine on primetime television. God bless America. I know that's right. Wasn't it fun on the desk tonight? Thank you for watching.
One thing Clinton can be grateful for, he's got Starr cross-examining him, but he hasn't got Jeremy Paxman cross-examining him.
Thank you, I'm joined now by Mr. Farad. Sorry to sound more intelligent than you, but then again I am. Could you start by telling us how exactly you feel about the British establishment?
What the British establishment? They a load of bloody donkeys. They come here, they take all my money, they fuck each other wives, they like bloody load of shoplifting and drug dealing and all fucking each other, fucking all these business, and they load of bloody no good assholes.
Well, that's very clear. Michael Cole, what's he saying?
I think what Mr. Fide is saying is he's a great admirer of the British establishment. He'd like a passport so he can join them.
Thank you very much indeed.
Now to sport. here's all the sports results we've got, all the ones that Sky would give us. Here we go. The shipping forecast for coastal waters at 0600. That's a personal best, by the way. Tyree northerly 6, visibility good, 1032, rising slowly. I think you know where I'm coming from, ladies. Chiswick, actually. Stornoway rising more slowly, could be the late mornings. Channel light vessel automatic 1035, West Bromwich Albion 0. Des has been a great icon of mine. He's getting on a little bit now. The hair's getting a bit greyer. His moustache is getting a little bit more roué. But he still saves the day for the BBC on so many occasions. He's wonderful. He's there with the one-liner. The Olympics, they had the hockey. How do we make hockey exciting? But Des doesn't make any pretense about it. He just looked at the camera and said, short corners, long corners. Do you know a lot about that kind of stuff? But I think Desi's now, he's getting into his late middle age, shall we say. Hair getting a bit longer. I think he's put a wisteria rinse in there, actually, lately. Next thing, we're going to get a feather boa. Nice sort of pink housecoat. And what do you know? It's Desi LaRue. I've just been lingering all alone down Lancaster Gate. When I was a junior cub reporter on the Brighton Evening Argus, I think it was, I had a sort of mate, I guess you'd call him. I'd call him Graham, he'd call me Des. I'd approach him, mic in hand, and we'd both sit down on a doorstep there, and I'd say, welcome to Grandstand. On Graham Kelly's doorstep, down Lancaster Gate, we'd natter on the telly when the football ran late, which of course it did from time to time. But now he's got a little logo on his frock, a logo on his shoe, a logo on his stocking. He's got sponsored undies too. Oh, Kelly was the smartest down our way all together now. On Graham Kelly's doorstep, I'm wondering now if my hair gel Kelly, if he remembers his mate, that'd be great. Let's make a date. And does he love me? Like he used to. On Graham Kelly's doorstep, down Lancaster Gate. It's been a difficult year for the royal family. How many people saw that film, the Mrs. Brown? I think we should do a modern version of it with Billy Connolly going up to Buckingham Palace. It'd been great the last year. Going, come on! Your Majesty! For heaven's sake! Can you no smile? You look like you've got something stuck up your arse. Come on, you never even liked her. The Queen looking very sombre.
My subjects. Looking back over last year, the overwhelming sense is one of great loss. The loss that we all suffered. And looking back over the photographs, one is struck by the fact that wherever she went, she made people happy. Thousands, indeed hundreds of thousands of people who would turn up to greet her wherever she went and would turn up to wave her goodbye as she left. And on that fateful day, last year, when we gathered to say goodbye to her for the last time, I turned to my husband and said, We're going to miss that yacht, you know.
The royal family, they've desperately tried to keep up with the times now. There's a new switchboard at Buckingham Palace you can ring up. It says,
Hello, you're through to Buckingham Palace. If you want to marry Charles, please press 1 now. If you want to marry Edward, please press 2. If you're a Catholic, please replace the handset and try again.
They're even on the internet. Everyone's in the Alan Bennett's on the internet now.
Alan Bennett on the internet, oh, that'll be the day. Signed Alan here at betty's.thetearooms.uk.
What's the royal family's website? Does anybody know? royalfamily@loggerheads.co.uk. Extraordinary. Still got Prince Philip, the world's greatest diplomat, wandering around in the background. Fabulous. They went to India, to Amritsar, the scene of that terrible Indian massacre, and Philip's going around, looks at the bullet holes in the wall. Oh, look, you missed a few then! Don't know how many were killed, but it got to lunchtime. He was going, come on, come on, come on, I could murder an Indian. And the next generation, Camilla could be queen next year. And I have no clue what she sounds like. Do you know what she sounds like? Haven't a clue. I want to see her on the chat show circuit.
And now... Thank you, Mr. Mitsubishi, wishy-washy, plenty-doshy. And now it's time to meet the woman for whom Lay's Majesty means wham, bam, thank you, Your Royal Highness. As we say, hail, God save the Queen. And how was it for you, Camilla Parker Bowles? Camilla, why is it that Charles has kept you out of the public eye for so long?
Well, I don't really know, really. Yeah, I suppose he's got a reason, hasn't he?
I don't know. Do you know what she sounds like? Because they've got to be familiar, all the familiar voices. I mean, a lot of the familiar voices I used to do, they're all retiring, going to retirement.
Ah, yes. But moving back to the world of Jurassic Park, which was the big movie of the year, in which the financially unchallenged Mr. Spielberg admirably demonstrated that the only reason dinosaurs became extinct in the first place was because they couldn't stand the publicity. The film's a veritable triumph of special effects in which a dozen mainframe computers and 200 animators managed the staggering feat of making Richard Attenborough seem lifelike. So one day they're going to take this far too far, all this genetic cloning business, and they're going to find a scientist with too much money and not enough sense, and he's going to create this theme parks with stalking herds of old comedians. You know.
Nightfall. And from the far side of the compound can be heard the sound of the praying monkhouse. A chirping Corbett gambols into view.
Sorry. Goody, goody. Barbara Dixon.
Playing amongst the herds of Williams and the giant Connollys. Matron, oh, do you bloody think so? What say you? Matron, you. Apparently oblivious of the attentions of a stalking predator.
Well, hello.
Elsewhere we see nature's outtakes, the Muir and Norton. Creatures rendered sadly extinct through inbreeding.
Well, hello.
It was a perfectly ordinary evening. Thursday tea time, in fact, and the animals were going about their usual evening routine.
Dim, 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 over the hills and far away. Bit of an eye, bit of a nose, bit of a cheek, bit of a forehead. Do you know what it is yet? Do you know? Supper.
Suddenly, with a noise loud enough to wake the little and large audience, the mighty Howard stirred.
Oh, nay.
Yes, all seemed normal. The perfect example of a GNA DNA replicating technique first seen on British television, courtesy of the Mitsubishi Wishy-Washy Plenty-Doshy satellite tracking system and Oriental walk manufacturers. A cloning technique first seen on British television when breakfast channel GMTV was formed using DNA from the already extinct TVAM. But suddenly, something went wrong. The DNA malfunction took place and Ben Elton was showing worrying signs of a DNA crossing.
Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Double helix, gotta get a double helix, gotta get a double helix, got to get that double helix. Oh, yes, indeed.
Somewhere in the creation of this perfect creature, he'd been corrupted with DNA from Max Miller.
Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. These two knob jokes, they walk into the student union bar. There they are. There's the barmaid. She's standing there. She's got a double first underneath the t-shirt. Oh, little bit of Main Street creeping into the comedy there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look, mine, there you go. My name's Ben Elton. Oh, take a safe journey home and vote Tory. Oh, yes, thank you, indeed. Good night.
Suddenly, the animals, sensing danger, grew ever more restless. Matron, oh, do you bloody think so? Yeah, now, I'm free. Until word got round. The incredible had happened. The Forsyth had escaped. Panic! Shut down the systems! Quick, we've got to lock up the band before he gets to the musical number. If he gets hold of any members of the public, it'll be curtains, lights, staircase, and music, Mr. Hazelhurst, please. Look out, he's heading this way. How have I got? Miss Ford. Stop him, somebody. Quick, give him a series. He's already had 18. No one's ever survived that many before. Look out, it's too late. He's reached the catchphrase. Nice to eat you. To eat you. Nice.
There was only one thing to do, take the whole planet and tow it out forever into outer space, leaving it there forever in some hopeless orbit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of how they launched UK Gold.
I remember the Peter Alice's of he's now getting a little bit long in the tooth. I was watching the USPGA. Was anyone watching this last week? USPGA. And the Americans have this punchy sort of commentary, and they go, well, that's Fred Funk now, 7 under for the day, and he's got a 230-yard drive here. Should be quite, you got to steer clear of those woods there on the left, and here to watch the shot is Peter Alice. Well, this funny old game of stick and ball drives you mad on occasion. Oh, there it is. As my old caddy used to say, you drive for show and you putt for dough. I wonder if he's watching now, the old chap there. Old Jimmy McTumshy. He's probably there in the old leather armchair at the 16th. A glass of Glenfiddich in his hand. Hope the leg's better. And all the regards to Elspeth. Hope she's recovering from that. Bit of trouble with the old angina. And now Fred Funk now back onto the 17th. And thanks, Peter, for that. But the great warm voices of Cliff Morgans of this world, he says about sports, it's about characters, it's not about winning, it's about getting together and, in the showers, a little rub down with a nail brush. But people used to play with a great heart and great soul, and take the great players like Martina Navratilova, she had heart, she had soul, she had balls, didn't she? A lot of the people I know from the world of cricket, and one of my friends down in England is Alan Lamb, who played cricket for England, and he was born in South Africa. But he gets things slightly wrong, He tried to get me to do a charity show the other day. It was a cystic fibrosis thing, and he rang up and said, "Hey, Roy, I want to do this little show for septic halitosis." And he's trying to get hold of John McCarthy. He said, "Who is that bloke who was held hostage in Debenhams? What's that... Paul McCartney bloke, yeah, that's... I tell you, they don't bloody take any pensioners over there, do they? Who's that bloke they held with him? The one with the beard, like Terry Wogan. What's that, And he was out in Cape Town, and he said, I wonder if I could get Nelson Mandela to do my golf day. Imagine the phone call. Hey, Nelson, it's Lamy here. Do you think you could do my golf day for me?
Listen, Lammy. I was held in prison for 30 years in a cell that was 10 feet by 2 feet. You think I can bloody putt? You bet your ass.
There's a lot of fuss last year about Jeff Boycott and his girlfriend. I mean, what on earth goes on between Jeff Boycott and his girlfriend? Why would you go to bed with Jeff Boycott in the first place? He'd just start to coach you.
No, that's bad technique, is that? No, look, come on. No, that's bad technique. You've got your legs in the wrong position, the balance is all wrong, you're not moving, you're not dancing, you're not got that elbow higher, leaning into the ball.
Dicky Bird at the end of the bed with the light meter. It's too dark, Jeffrey, you'll have to come off.
Fred on the microphone. Well, if you ask me, it's about time they put somebody else on.
Dicky Bird retired last year, you know, the Test match umpire. He'd been going on about it for weeks, saying, well, you know, when I go down the pavilion steps for the last time, there'll be a tear in my eye, I don't mind admitting. And sure enough, you know, he came out, he had this hanky, he was rubbing his eyes, and Henry Blofeld was on the microphone. He said, my dear old thing, well, here we are, and it's a packed House of Lords, and here comes Dicky Bird now down the steps, and and there's a guard of honour. Oh, when the waterworks have started, well, there he's got a big white hanky, and he's dabbing. One has to say, Trevor, this is ungovernably sad. And Trevor Beatty, true to form, said, it's not as sad as that. Henry, because if you remember, they didn't give Don Bradman a guard of honour, and he could bat. Murray Walker, I thought we'd lost him. He's gone over to ITV, and he's extraordinary. There's a Murray Walker fan club. I don't know about this. On the front of the T-shirts it says, unless I'm very much mistaken. On the back it says, yes, I am very much mistaken. Racing's sort of getting very modern now, and we've had to say goodbye to Julian Wilson. It's now all Eden McCrick's.
All going like this, very exciting. Watch the racing. Going soft for the horses, hard for the punters. There's the day steamer going down the pan.
He should be in the city, shouldn't he?
5-2, the African gumbo bean. There it is, 100-30, Burlington Bertie up against the Spanish Peseta. 1 Peseta, 2 Peseta, 3 Peseta, 4.
So it's goodbye to Peter O'Sullivan, who's gone off and doing other commentaries elsewhere, I dare say.
As you join us now, we're over at the Newmarket Meat Market. The going is good to medium rare. As they're waiting now, they're on hors d'oeuvre. They're ready to go, and they're off. And first to show is Polo Pony Flambe, followed by Mignon the filly. That's well done on the outside, well raw on the inside, with top side on the stand side, silver side on the near side, and moss side failing the random drugs test. As they come now past the 3-furlong marker and up to the counter. Safely over the counter amidst Scraggan, the leader, leading by a neck from Brisket Boy, with Tenderloin bringing up the rump as they come now towards the 2 sirloin marker. Owen Scraggan's a faller, Scraggan down to $2.95 a pound, followed by Chump Chop and Selected and Dog's Bollocks, just a length clear of Vet with 2 bricks. As they come now in towards the final run-in now, and it's a decisive loss for 8-year-old Beef Carcasses. And as they come to the line, it's Knacker's Yard, the winner, owned and cooked by Henry Cecil, who looks after a long string of sausages. And as they come into the dinner enclosure, this is Peter O'Sullivan saying bon appetit and handing you back to the studio and Julian Hanmer. Thank you.
Sadly, we've lost one of the most sympathetic characters, one of my favourites really, who retired about 3 weeks ago. When Brian Johnston died, John Major said, well, summers will never be the same again. And now that our chubby little weather presenter has retired, I think that summaries will never be the same again.
Hello. Hello, ladies. We're talking love.
I often wonder what he made of it. I did ask him once. He said, I don't mind the impression. I don't like the way you get inside my mind. He did an interview the other day with Sian Lloyd, and I said, looking at Sian Lloyd, I said, you never looked like that. You never dressed like that, Ian. And he said, only in the privacy of my own bedroom. I think, in a way, we'd like to say goodbye in proper style, and I think they'll remember Ian as he should be remembered, the entertainer. Music, maestro, please.
Though rain and hail may fall, don't be dragged down by it all, just because there is a cold front over here in parts of Wales. Temperatures near average for the time of year, with the outlook for the weekend mostly clear. So always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. When your biggest joke is at the weather bloke, you forget that I am just the light relief. Look around a little more. Don't things seem rotten to the core? It's enough to make you pull out all your teeth and your gums. Now, always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. When we're reading all the time about recession, sleaze and crime, and the government is bent and on the make, when they throw a football game, we all wonder who's to blame, 'cause that's the only thing we're not prepared to take. But I see! Always look on the bright side of life. Sing up, Michael Fish. A singing fish. Always look on the bright side of life. Ronnie Corbin. Always look on the bright side of life. Victor Meldrew. Always look on the bright side of life. Julian Clary. Always look on the bright side of life. Sean Connery. Always look on the bright side of life. Roger Moore. Always look on the bright side of life.
Thank you very much indeed. You've been a great audience. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you and good night. Thank you. Thank you.